Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Coleman. I'm the fourth generation owner of Coleman Crest Farm, but more important, I am excited today to be on So Booking Cool with Jewel B. This show is absolutely incredible, and I'm telling you right now, I'm honored because she only has rock stars on this show. And she's a leader and she is a driver in new ideas and new ways because she's connecting wonderful people from all over the world to share their stories so that we can inspire the world. I want to let you know we're going to be talking about my farm's legacy all the way from 1888 when my great grandfather bought the farm all the way up to me today on what I'm doing. I'm also going to get a chance to talk about three of the books that I've written. One is called Don't Sell the Goose That Lays the Golden Egg, Hang 'em in the Middle. And the third one that I've written is Cut the Crap and Close the Gap. As well as just like Jewel B has done, I've launched a podcast show called The Jim Coleman Show. It's not as hot as So Booking Cool, but one of these days, it's going to be So Booking Cool. And the start of that is because of today. And I want to thank Jewel B for even giving me this opportunity to share my story.
So Booking Cool.
There's so much booking cool. So listen to So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool, it's Jewel B. Today's guest is a former Fortune 500 executive turned fourth-generation sole owner of Coleman Crest Farms, a 137-year-old family legacy. Raised on the land his great-grandfather, James Coleman, purchased in 1888 after surviving enslavement and serving in the 5th Regiment United States Colored Infantry, he now carries that legacy forward with purpose and pride. He is the host of The Jim Coleman Show, a bold new voice in farming, freedom, and food, and the author of several books including Cut the Crap and Close the Gap, Don't Sell the Goose That Lays the Golden Egg, and Hang Him in the Middle. Here with us today, he is Mr. Jim Coleman. Stay tuned for our conversation only on So Booking Cool. What is your favorite way to give back to people? Because one of the ways that you give back, aside from the events and being so involved in community and outreach, by, like you said, the books that you've read, knowledge is power.
Yes.
And even with your show, with your podcast.
Yes.
So which of those are your favorite to help inform and engage the public, especially the Black community, about
Yes.
this topic of ownership and farm life, generational wealth?
Yeah. The books have been a blast. They're fun. You have to keep pushing them. Books don't just get sold because you got them on Amazon. You have to talk about it, and you have to get opportunities like we have today to talk to wonderful, people like you that are influencers that can reach certain markets where, it will be of interest. The podcast show has been an incredible success. The last episode that I did, it reached 85,000 viewers, 180 comments. It blew me out of the water. It's up to 4,500 subscribers now. Not bad for the first 6 months. But the biggest thing that I enjoy the most, Joel, is I have a summer internship program in a partnership with the city of Lexington. It's called the Summer Youth Jobs Program. And here's how it works. They've got young people that are in the 9th and 10th grade and 11th grade where they want to give them exposure to the work world. And so the city got a grant from, I guess it's from WIOA, Work Fund and, Workforce Investment Opportunity Act money out of Washington. And they use it to pay employers like me to be able to have them to work. So I don't get paid, but they pay the students $15 an hour. And there are not a lot of farmers that take advantage of this program, and I do. I participate in it. Why?
That's excellent.
Because it's a win. You get some really great help without having to pay for it, but it's expected for you to train them. And that's why a lot of employers don't want it. They want people that can do the job. They don't have time to teach somebody. They don't want to teach. But Joel, that is what I love most is when I can bring young people out here, not just to work on the farm, but to learn about showing up on time, learning about being accountable, learning about profit and loss, learning about customer relationships, learning about being sustainable, learning about how to introduce themselves each year. And I've done it 2 years in a row. I'm going to be doing it third year next year. Each time near the end of the summer, I invite one of our local television stations to come out to interview them. Why do I do that? Is that within 10 days before they come out there, I practice with the students literally on introduce yourself. What is your name? My name is Heaven. Well, Heaven, what grade are you in? I'm going to be in 11th grade and I go to Bryan Station High School. What do you want to do in your life? I want to go to University of Kentucky. They had to practice. And young people today are so much into these phones that they don't know how to communicate. And to get them to be able to do a 30-second pitch about themselves is a game changer. I know that myself, is that there's so many people that all of us will meet in our lives, and just being able to introduce yourself in the right way can make or break. And so developing their skills, I tell them all, first of all, this ain't camp. This ain't coming out here eating, graham crackers and marshmallows. This ain't camp. They all thought about that. And I said, you give me your 100% this summer, I will give you my 200% for the rest of my life. Now, what does that mean? That means references, coaching on interviewing, recommendations, letters of recommendation to anybody, whether it's employer, even if it's 2 years from now. I will write a letter about you better than anyone. And I will have details and pictures to send to whoever you need me to talk to or write to. That is liquid gold. And to have me as a coach and telling them more of what not to do more than what to do can be a big help to them. And so I love that. I love speaking at different groups. I love going down to Kentucky State, talking to those young people. I love talking over at the University of Kentucky and inspiring the youth that they can do anything. We live in a $37 trillion economy. There is no excuse. My great-grandfather was enslaved, and within his 65 years of life, went from being enslaved to being a landowner in Fayette County, the wealthiest county in Kentucky. That's basically going from slavery to being a millionaire. What excuse do you have? None. And talking about that daily, I love it. It is the most enjoyable thing, whether it's through this kind of conversation online, speaking, or mostly directly to students is the most fun that I have. And I found my purpose. That is my ministry, is to inspire and to explain down to the detail of what they need to do to be wealthy. I tell students all the time, go to college, but be serious about it. Study something that you're going to make an income on. Study something that you're good at. The days of just do what you like, that's not enough. Do something and study something that you're good at, that the market would be willing to pay you enough for you to be sustainable, where you can create enough savings to where then you can do what you like. Okay? That's a big difference than I'm going to spend my next 4 years, leave with $100,000 in debt, and can't get a job. You get 27, I tell them, you get 27,000 days. Some get less, like my wife. Some maybe get more, but it's not a lot more either way. And they go by fast.
What other ways can people get involved with Coleman Crest Farm, though, locally and even beyond?
Listening like this, following our podcast show. It's amazing how many people have emailed me and that I've had Zoom meetings with. I'm open to having a Zoom meeting. I mean, I talk about Coleman Crest Farm in my sleep. So I literally have had, just in the last 30 days, probably at least 4 either phone calls or Zoom meetings where people are like, Mr. Coleman, can I just get 15 minutes of your time?
I can imagine.
It's valuable. It's very valuable. And it inspires me and it inspires them. It gives them hope. And I'm able to keep it crisp and to the point. But this whole idea of technology today with these podcast shows and Instagram and Facebook and being able to post daily about what's going on the farm and to show people how they can do it and what they can do and things they shouldn't do, it is remarkable. And access to that information today for young people. I told young people this past summer, there was this little boy that came home one day, he was in the 3rd grade. His mother said, Buster, what do we have to do for homework tonight? His mother was a single mom, struggling. He said, Mom, the teacher wants us to write a book report on what we want to do one day. And she said, Buster, what do you want to be? He said, well, I want to be president. She said, I've never heard you say that. She said, we better get ready. He said, when is this due? He said, it's due Friday. This is Tuesday. She said, we better get ready. They went to the public library every night, studying from encyclopedias about the presidents. He turned it in that Friday morning. Tuesday, he comes home. The following Tuesday, Mama, I got the book report. She said, what did you get? He showed it to her. It was an A. And she said, Buster, I'm glad you told me so we could get it done right, but really tell me. Now tell Mama, really, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, Mama, I want to be president now more than ever. And I asked these kids,
Oh,
who was that? Who was that the kid, 8 years old in the third grade? Abraham Lincoln? George Washington? John Kennedy? Obama.
Obama.
Y'all sitting up here 16 years old. He was 8. Y'all behind talking this stuff. You don't know what's going on. That's what I talk about. Joel, that's the way I push them. Give them examples. You have no excuse. Talk about my great-grandfather was a slave and found a way and didn't give up
Yeah.
and bought land, and in 65 years of life went from being enslaved to being a millionaire with no rights, no access to capital, mistreatment, Jim Crow, no health, wasn't going to the doctor, no medication, and seized the moment. There's no excuse. So I don't take it. I don't take it from young people. I don't take it from, when I hire people out here that are 30 years old, I don't, when they tell me about their problems, I'm like, time out. You can go home right now, but I really can't take this. I need your help more than you know. If you can't get to work, I understand, but that won't work with me. So I set rules. And I find when you set expectations, especially high expectations, people meet them. If you set low expectations, people meet low expectations.
Yeah. What are some of those most important expectations that you have? You did talk about being on time.
That is being on time, doing what you say you're going to do. It's about integrity, working as hard as you can, getting a good night's sleep, not going home and staying up all night where you can't get to work on time or where you're too tired the next day. Take good care of your body, drinking plenty of water during the day. I tell them all, look, I'm 65 years old. I'm not going to expect you to work harder than me, but you got to at least keep up with me. Now, I stay out in the field working with my team because that makes them work at least at my level. I've seen it where when I've come up to the house and I look out the window, they're like, good riddance. Good riddance. But when I'm out in the field and I'm demonstrating, leading by example, it's something about it. When you lead by example, people will follow. So it's about take good care of your health, being responsible to your health, being on time, doing what you say you're going to do, being able to absorb feedback. People can go very far in their careers if they're known to be someone who can absorb, receive, and take action on the feedback that they've been given, which means you have to be humble and grateful. You have to be willing to accept that you're not perfect. And if you can take feedback, you can go anywhere you want in the world. I've got this young lady, her name is Heaven Dobson. She is no doubt one of the best employees that I've had over the last 2 years. She plays soccer at one of our local high schools. She's got a sister. Her parents are wonderful. But her attitude, she's smart, but her attitude, Heaven's going to be a CEO of a company one day. She's going to go beyond what she even thinks because Heaven's got the right attitude. One time I said, I explained what we needed to do. And I said, how long do you all think it's going to take for us to get this done? And I started with Heaven. I said, Heaven, how long do you think? She said, as long as it takes to get it done.
Ooh, very impressive.
As long as it takes to get it done, Mr. Coleman. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
One day I had this leaf blower and I said, I'm going to try it out. I'm going to show them a technique. And I learned this from working in companies where you have this group learning and activity learning. So I said, this is a blow dryer that I use to move leaves. Who wants to start it for me? They looked at each other. Heaven was the first one. She said, I'll try. Well, what did Heaven do? First thing that she did, instead of pulling it right from the start, she looked at the directions. She read the directions. And guess what? It started because she read the directions. And I've seen countless other people where they just get it and start pulling without even trying. Heaven read I said, Heaven, if the instructions were not written, on the machine, what would you have done? She would have said, "Oh, Mr. Coleman, I would have gotten on my phone and gone to YouTube, and I would have typed in the model of it. I've never started before, but it's got to be a YouTube video out there that could show me how to do it." Heaven takes direction. She's into constant self-improvement. She follows direction. She takes feedback. She has high expectations of herself. She challenges herself. Any employer in the United States, from Goldman Sachs to Coleman Crest Farm, would hire Heaven with a C average because she will deliver results.
Wow.
I
Yeah, I
told
mean,
Heaven,
it sounds like
I
it.
told her, I said, "Heaven," and I'm straight on these kids on this. Joel, I don't sit here and say, "Oh, baby, do whatever you want to do. Try to do what." I tell them all, study private equity, study finance. I told Heaven, I want you to go study finance and work at Goldman Sachs for the summer, get an MBA at Harvard, and go in back at Goldman Sachs, work there each summer so you've got a full-time job with them afterwards, and get to become a top executive and then a managing director, so you'll be making $100 million a year. Do that, and by the time you're 45, then you can do whatever you want. You can sponsor a local soccer league for poor kids. You can donate to United Negro College Fund. You can donate to Howard University. You can donate to your local church. But for God's sake, for the next 20 years, become a multimillionaire. Not just for yourself, but for your family and for your community. You can't help the poor if you're broke. That's what my father used to say. You got to be rich to help others. And that's what I encourage them. You're young. I tell them all, you're young. You have a choice right now to be poor or rich. Your brain is empty. You can either go the light road and stay low and get a good job, which ain't bad, or you can say, "I'm going to hunker down and I'm going to go to an Ivy League program and get me an MBA and work at Goldman Sachs and make $100 million a year so that I can be freer quicker, and then I can do anything I want to do. I can start companies. I can launch a startup. I can launch a not-for-profit to teach kids how to read." We're 86% of our third graders here in Lexington are not reading at proficient levels. You can start a reading program. You can get their moms and dads, they're illiterate, teach them how to read. But you can't do that if you're broke. I teach wealth. This is not about farming. I teach wealth. This is about wealth.
Yeah.
One of my farm managers one summer, a young kid, he's smart as heck,
Yeah.
and tomatoes didn't work for us. You know, with organic, they're uncovered. The rain got on them. It killed the fungus, took out 30%. I said, "Grant, we're not growing tomatoes next year." He said, "You got to grow tomatoes. Every farmer has tomatoes." I said, "Grant, this farm is not a not-for-profit. This farm is a for-profit. We're going to grow stuff
It's business, yeah.
that doesn't get messed up." That doesn't work for Jim Coleman, where I put a lot of money into planting, your labor, cost, goods, and 30% gets wiped out with one rainfall. We're going to grow stuff that can handle rain, and where I don't have the same risk. I don't care what it is. It doesn't have to be something that I even like. Most of the stuff I grow is not like I like it. Okra, I'm growing that because there's demand for it in the market at high-end restaurants and high-end retailers that have people that love okra, and they're willing to pay $4 and $5 a pound for it. Not because Jim Coleman likes it, because there is demand for it. I want to grow cash. That's what and young people need to understand.
It sounds like that's the key. And like you said, it's not just farm life, it's more than that. Like you're trying to encourage and show people how they can, become
Be free.
prosperous.
Jewel,
free.
it's about freedom. Jewel, it's about being free. The sisters that are leaving these big companies, they ain't broke. They're leaving, they're getting their savings, they're taking their 401ks. You can't leave there broke and buy a farm. You got to leave there. She's worked hard. She's put away money. She's got her 401k, and she's got $1.8 million, and she goes south somewhere and she buys 20 acres for $5,000 an acre and does it over time. But over time, land goes up in value. My great-grandfather bought this farm for $1,800, and today I could probably sell this farm with the house that's on it. I could probably sell it for $2 billion. Okay? That's how fast it's appreciated over a short, really, 137 years is really a nanosecond when you look at time. So that's what I do for young people.
What do you think will be the future of Coleman Crest Farm?
It's going to be, I want it to be a farm forever. I want to get a PDR. That's where you sell your development rights and it will be preserved as a farm and never get used for commercial use, like, multifamily housing and all that. And I intend to get that done. I want it to always be in the hands of a farmer, someone that loves it like I do. I am going to get a grave site. I've got a stone on the farm from my grandparents that my father put in, but my great grandparents and my parents are buried in the city. But I'm going to get I'm going to get a stone for my great grandparents and each of their kids, their names on this big stone. I'm going to get one for my grandparents, which they already have a stone, but I'm going to get one bigger that's got all their kids on it, which they're all deceased. And I'm going to get one with my parents' name on it, with all of their kids, and one for my wife and I. And I want to do that so that 100, 200 years from now, no matter who owns it, they know during this time frame from 1888 to 20, whatever time, hopefully it's 2060, that these Colemans owned it during this era. Look, no matter if you own it, it really, Joel, and I don't mean to get real spiritual on this, we're just renting.
It's
No
okay.
matter what, we're just renting. It's a deed that I so-called own because I own a mortgage but life is about renting time and space. And I would love for it to be a family member, but if it's not, I would love for it to be a farmer that loves it, that raises their kids here, they enjoy what I had, which was freedom. When I grew up here, I had a pony named Stormy. I didn't think we were super wealthy, but I didn't think we were broke. I felt like we were sustainable. My parents and I, and brothers and sisters, we ate at the table every night. We talked. We were close. When I was growing up, I felt like we were far away from the city, secluded, away from things, but it forced us to be self-sustainable. I grew up knowing how to fix things. Today, I'm not afraid. I can change the oil on my tractor. I can fix tires. I can shoot a gun. I knew how to shoot a 12-gauge shotgun. I knew how to skin rabbits when I was 12. And so I knew at an early age how to be a man, how to be sustainable. And I would love to have it to where there's a farm family forever here at Coleman Crest Farm, replicating what my life has been here at Coleman Crest Farm. Love, freedom, enjoyment, peace, wealth building, knowledge, respect for nature, understanding how to work with the ecosystem, not against it. Like with organic, you're working with the ecosystem. It's like the difference between sailboating and power boating. Sailboating, whether the wind is strong or not, you're working with what you got with nature to move that boat. With power boat, you don't care. But in organic, it's art. You're working with nature. You're working with the pollinators. Everybody counts. Nothing is a pest. That's when people come out. You got snakes on this farm. You know what? They were here 10 million years before you showed up. And if they were not here, I would not be able to raise potatoes because all my potatoes would have chunks out of them because of the moles and mice that are in them. You got mice too? Yep, they're here too. And if I didn't have them, I would all these other little bees and beetle bugs. The population would be so big that they would eat up everything. So everything counts on my farm, and I'm just a part of it. And that's what you learn. You learn that life doesn't revolve around you, that you're just a part of this. And those are the key things that I want whoever that owns Coleman Crest Farm to experience, whether it's 150, 200 years from now, whether they're Colemans or not. That's what I want. And I'm doing my best. The best thing I can do outside of trying to help my family members to take it on, the best thing I can do is document what has transpired over these last 137 and whatever time God need to live, so that literally, my pastor, Dr. Franklin Richardson in New York, up in Mount Vernon, I used to go to Grace, and he said, no matter what you do with the farm, and that's when I wrote this book, Cut the Crap, Close the Gap, he said, if you write about it, he said, Jim, that's just as important as owning it, because you're documenting for other people all over the world the go-to guide of how they can experience this same lifestyle. And he said, that's a wonderful gift that you can give. So the more I can talk about it and document it on different shows and in different books and different mediums to where it inspires young people and sisters that are sick and tired of working for the man. They're like, it was a sister I talked to about 3 weeks ago. It was amazing. She was so powerful. She lives in Maryland, and she just sent me a note. They're so shocked when they send me an email. They're so shocked, Joel, on how fast I respond. And I'll say, here are the days. They'll say the day. I don't go back and say, well, okay, I just reply with a calendar invite, Zoom link. It just blows your mind,
Yeah.
and it
I
is
mean, hey, Wall
inspiring.
Street. Well, not just Wall Street, your family, your ancestors. That's it. That is in
Yes.
your DNA.
Yes. You
Yeah.
know, I'm even teaching people. There's a game. Not a game, but it's a membership group that I
Hmm.
joined back in 2018 called Flip That Stock. So 86% of farmers have an off-farm job to make ends meet, because oftentimes what they're growing does not cover the cost, or they can't get health care. They just need more money. Like my father worked at the post office. So 86% of farmers have off-farm income to be sustainable. And what I really want to teach farmers, especially young farmers, whether if they're organic or commercial or not, just young farmers, is how to trade stocks and how to take a half an hour in the morning and trade stocks and make $300 or $400 or $500. And where they can use that and creates another $75,000 to $100,000 that can help them to make ends meet and not have to leave the farm, not have to go to work at a factory, where they can do that and get right back out in the field and stay focused on making their farm sustainable and strong. There are just so many ways with the internet. There's so many possibilities of how to make incremental income that will support the farm until you can get it to where it's fully sustainable by itself. Or you can keep doing both just to keep your mind sharp. So I encourage people you'll see one of my upcoming shows I'm going to be talking about that, of I day trade, and I love it for the brain
Okay.
power of it. And I'm amazed at how fast you can make money doing it. And it doesn't take up the whole day. You can make $300 in 25 seconds. And I'm back out in the field. And we've got to help farmers to know these different tools of how they can make additional income without they need off-farm income that can be generated while they're still at the farm. That's going to be the name of my next episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, when can we expect the next episode?
Probably it will be out in the next 3 weeks. I'll
Okay,
send
all
you
right.
when it's ready.
Yes,
It'll,
okay, perfect.
you and I know as podcasters, it's a lot. I
Yes,
launched
it
my
is.
podcast show back in January, and I had this real professional firm, Sweetfish Media, down in Florida, that helped me to launch it. And it cost a lot, and it's a big investment, but they did a fabulous job to help me to get it launched. One thing I learned, Jewel, what got the biggest hit is me going to the backfield with this camera and a tripod and talking in real time about what's going on
Mm-hmm.
versus being in a
Yeah.
high-end studio. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're going to see a lot more of, that in action of what is going on. Changing the oil, talking about day trading, talking about more about what to grow and what not to grow, how to manage, how to refinance, how to get an additional loan. Should you take on more debt? When not take on more? All of these are important
Yeah.
things on how to help farmers, big and small. I've got big farmers that watch the show. It's not just small time wannabes. It's big farmers that need it oftentimes the most.
I'm glad that you have the show. I'm glad, and I'm glad that you have the books as well. This is so important, and it's amazing. There's just so much to take from everything you've done and what you're continuing to do. Like it is truly, it's
We could talk
amazing.
a day, couldn't we? We could talk a day.
Yeah,
I could talk to you for a whole day. And
yeah. I mean,
I'd love to have you on my show, and it's about
oh,
community.
thank you.
It's about community.
Yeah. Mm,
We had this, when my grandparents and my parents were coming up, the Lexington Herald, that's our local newspaper. And this was going on in every major metropolitan area all over the United States, where the local paper would have one page at the back called colored notes. And that was news for black people. That's all we got. Now you can look at
colored
that today and
notes.
say that's terrible. That's racism. Absolutely it is. But that was the time. But you know what, Joel? I'm happy that we at least have colored notes, because I've gone on to colored notes from now. It's an app you can get to see all the amount of news that was going on at the time, and that my family was involved in, my grandparents and great grandparents and uncles and aunts, obituaries, weddings, births, changes in property ownership, graduations. It was amazing. And to hear all the things that they were doing just says that they did so much with so little. And it encourages me because we have so much today that if we can help our young people to leverage all of these tools, not just use your cell phone for, playing on TikTok and Instagram, but to use it to search, to gain knowledge, have access to financial markets, to learn how to. I told Dr. Coppola, I've got a meeting tomorrow morning with the president of Kentucky State. I want every student that goes to Kentucky State should come out of there knowing how to trade stocks. That should be like getting a driver's license. Whether if you end up being a doctor, a lawyer, a musician, a teacher, you should know how the United States stock market works, even down to yourself, to where you can make, whether it's $50 a day or $1,000 a day. We need to understand how our economy works and how we can seize the moment and leverage it to our own good for long-term wealth building for ourselves and our families.
Why? Okay, what to you is so important aside from the obvious about wealth, especially where Black people are concerned?
Yeah. Freedom. We don't have to worry. There were two people during the times when my great grandparents and grandparents were going, strong. You had Booker T. He's my hero.
Booker T.
I'm modern day Booker T. Don't we look alike? Well, you had
Yes.
Booker T and you had
Yeah.
W.B. Du Bois. They were both great leaders. They were both great leaders. Different views, but both great leaders. Booker T believed more in that we need to have a trade. We need to be able to do something with our hands that's of value, that we can make money from. He believed in land ownership. He believed in learn how to be a carpenter. No matter, you can talk about racism all you want. If you know how to build a house, you got the job. You're going to be able to take care of your family. And so WB believed more into the talented 10th, which was, education, which is important. And let's work through the political angle. Let's have political power. And with that, we can make things happen. And that the 10%, those who were blessed and educated, would help the other 90%. I respect both. I lean more towards Booker T, which is more of independence, freedom, being able to be sustainable, being able to decide on if your child gets sick and you want to go to a different doctor, you can because you've got money. If you want to do a different option for your own health, you can pick a different option if it's not covered by Medicaid or Medicare or your private insurance. You can choose what school your kids go to, whether it's public or private, all the way through. You can decide on where you're going to live. If you live in 40183, in Scarsdale, New York, and you can afford to live there, and you've got the money, your kids are going to be going to schools to where 99% of them are going to go to Ivy League when they graduate, if you've got the money. It gives us freedom. It gives us real power. If we had all the acres that our recently freed slave ancestors had, we would have, African Americans today would have about $1 trillion in wealth. $1 trillion. We wouldn't care. We wouldn't have to care about who's getting elected because we would control everybody. We would have real political power because we would have PACs and money that we would be able to say to certain politicians, here's what we believe in. Do you believe in that? I don't believe in that. See you later. Give this PAC money to the one that cares about these issues that we care about. So with real wealth, it gives you power and it gives you freedom to be able to do anything that you want, both for yourself and your family. And you can do more for your community, whether it's your local church, whether it's through Kentucky State. I couldn't do that for Kentucky State if I didn't have the resources. I might want to, but I was
Mhm.
able to raise 30,000. I was able to literally put in about 6,000 myself. I was able to host it at my farm. I was able to get out into the community and talk about it. I have the network and the power to call other wealthy people to get them to contribute, where I want to get that to $100,000 a year. And you can't do that if you're struggling yourself. So that's what wealth is. And when I say wealth, Jewel, I'm not saying like you don't have to be like Elon Musk where you have 300 billion. If you have $2 million in America, you're doing well. If you have a million, 97% of people don't have $1 million. 86% of the American population cannot come up with $2,000 in an emergency. So if you've got over time $2 million, a couple of things happen. Number one, if it's managed properly, you've got enough to where somebody can manage it and beat the stock market to create at least $150,000 in income for you a year. Two, you've got an asset that you can use to collateralize to be able to do things you want to do. Three, you can invest in things to where you get a direct return on it, or you can invest in something that you want to launch for yourself that will create value for yourself, your community, and your family. So I just think we need, as a people, we need to think green. We need to teach our young people who love the free enterprise system and to leverage it and not to be afraid of it and to seize the moment, just like our ancestors did. Many of them did. Many of them did up against way more odds than you and I and other folks have. And we've just got to talk about that daily to our young people, whether it's at an elementary school, at a college, we've got to let them know that there's so much opportunity for you, so much.
Mr. Jim Coleman. Have to talk to you again for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank
Loved
you,
having you.
Marquette. Let's thank Marquette
Yes,
Shepherd.
of course.
Marquette, if you're watching this show, thank you for introducing me to Jewel. Thank
Yes,
you, Marquette, and thank you, Joel, for this opportunity to share just one of countless stories like this about the American dream and one of countless stories like this about African Americans in the United States. Even during these challenging, uncertain times, there is no way that these times match what our ancestors went through. And they never quit and they never gave up. And we've got to have that same kind of spirit that we can make it.
absolutely. Thank you so much for all you do. And it was a pleasure to have you on the show. And, yes, Marquette Shepherd, she's a wonderful friend to the show. We love her, and you are now a friend to the show as well. And what is the best way for everyone to keep up with you? What's your favorite way for people to get in contact with you?
They can just go to my website at www.colemancrestfarm.com. I've got all of my contact information there, my cell number, my email address. That's probably the best way at jim@colemancrestfarm.com. Those two ways, I respond to email, and I'm open to tours. Jewel, you and Marquette and her husband and son, they're coming to visit me early part of next year in the spring. And Jewel, you're welcome to come down at any time. We have Keeneland
Oh,
Horse Track here. We've got the Kentucky Derby. If you want to come down and work in the field with me a week, you can do that. You're welcome to come down to Coleman Crest Farm at any time.
I so appreciate that. Thank you. It sounds wonderful. And thank you so much as well to all the viewers and listeners. Until next time, so booking cool.
Thank you so much. Have a so booking cool day.